Hello, welcome to a new video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the top Shadow Pokemon that gonna be very strong in the future. We're going to take a look at some Pokemon here, 10 Pokemon total, that are going to get a very decent upgrade by being Shadow. So for the next Shadow event, those might be those that might come into the game. Would be very interesting. Of course, we want to have not really the greatest leaks currently available, so I kind of want to make some extra content, just like theory stuff here. So if you enjoy this type of content, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. And we can start in with my first Pokemon here already for the list, which is also my favorite Pokemon. We're gonna start off with Greninja. Basically, what we can talk about a little bit in the beginning as well is what makes a Shadow Pokemon a good Pokemon. Basically, as a Shadow Pokemon, you kind of want to be in a certain sweet spot. You want to have a fast move that usually does some decent damage, you want charge moves that you can get to very fast, and you also don't really want to be the bulkiest Pokemon ever, because usually it is a little bit better to have a little bit of an attack investment in terms of getting even more damage out with the Shadow bonus. And Greninja kind of hits the spot here with it. We're going to have Water Shuriken doing some solid damage while generating energy quite fast. We have Night Slash, which is the best kind of bait move that you can think of, and then we have Hydro Cannon, which does a tremendous amount of damage here, while also the water and dark typing is very good in the current meta. And as you're gonna see here, as a Shadow, this Pokemon would be insane. Getting up over 50 per average rating there just by being Shadow, gaining 2 extra wins is going to be wild. Of course, by the way, for today's video, the differences are not going to be as wild as if you would give this Pokemon a completely new move where it lagged in before, basically in a certain spot. Of course, you're only going to have now the 20% damage increase while 20% defense decrease that we can consider for this one. But Greninja as a Shadow seems to be one of the best choices that, yeah, Niantic can do in the future, which definitely going to be able to come eventually into the game. If you think about it, we have, I think, every starter in until Generation 5. I think Generation 5 we don't have a single one in yet, so Generation 5 is most likely next, and then you're going to have Generation 6, and usually I think the starters get released for the specific tour. So most likely in January we're gonna get, or January, February, somewhere around there, we're gonna get an event where we're gonna get the new Generation 5 starters first, with like the Ember, the Serperior, and the Samurott, and then a year later we're gonna get Greninja very likely. So in most likely a bit more than a year, Greninja is going to be a very cool new Shadow Pokemon into the game, and we can move on to the second slot, which is going to be one that I could actually see being in the next release as well. Going to be Malamar. Inkay as a Shadow would be really strong here, as we see already Malamar having access to Cyber Superpower, and Foul Play again kind of fits that criteria. You don't have the bulkiest Pokemon ever, you still have some solid bulk though, you don't want to have the squishiest Pokemon ever either, unless you have a fast move that does a ton of damage. But here you have Psywave, which is a Shadow Claw clone, is a 1-turn fast move, which is really good. You have Superpower and Foul Play, very cheap moves that are very strong as well, and of course Foul Play Step, Superpower a bit stronger, but has the debuff chance there. And so this Pokemon definitely gonna benefit quite a bit from the Shadow bonus. While it might not look like that in the just general meta overview on the right side, you're going to have the average rating that only increases by 3, and actually you lose 1 more battle. As you're going to see on the right side as well though, is you're going to have matchups that you're going to be able to win now that you were not able to win before, like the Toxapex, for example, or the normal Marowak. And there are quite a lot of very good matchups that you're going to be able to win now. But not only this, also if you have basically more fast move potential, like fast move down potential for the Malamar, so you can farm down Pokemon with your fast move way easier than before. But you're also going to have great coverage with Superpower and Foul Play. So if you're going to be in a position where the opponent stops in, for example, the Poison type Pokemon or a Fighting type Pokemon, you can just farm them down with it, which is way easier with Psywave. You're going to end up in a position where you have such an advantage that it's very difficult for opponents to come back from it. And so Malamar as a Shadow, I think, would be a huge upgrade towards what we have currently for this Pokemon. And so I really would like to see this Pokemon as a Shadow one, and we can move on to the third one, which is going to be another Dark type Pokemon. Pangoro, already an average rating of 562 is madness, honestly. I think it is the Pokemon with the highest average rating for the current meta. I'm fairly certain this. If there's another one, let me know in the comment section. I don't think there's any Pokemon that has in the one-sheet scenario a better average rating than Pangoro. I don't think there is. But this Pokemon would be even better as a Shadow. And as you can see here, it's going to get even more average rating. It's going to gain 3 more victories there as well. And there are going to be some matchups again that you're going to be able to win now, like Greninja, like the Marowak. You're going to have so much pressure just from your charge moves alone that you get so fast that Pangoro as a Shadow would be better breaking. This Pokemon going to be insanely strong just with the extra bonus, because if you think about it, you need 5 cavalry chops to go for 1 close combat, and that's basically it. And that is quite fast. And so Pangoro going to be an amazing Shadow Pokemon whenever it's going to get released. Mostly it takes a little bit because I don't think any of those egg exclusive Pokemon have been a Shadow Pokemon yet. Other than, I guess, Shinx. Shinx was a Shadow Pokemon already, and it was exclusive before, so it can happen for sure, but we have to see. Most likely it takes a bit for Niantic to release those in those grunts. Next Pokemon is going to be most likely again like a little bit of a later one, Primarina. I mean, it's not a set rule by the way with the starter Pokemon what I talked about before. Other starter Pokemon got released earlier. Like I know that the Turtwig has been in the game as a Shadow Basey since the beginning, so like there are a lot of other starter Pokemon that may be even going to be available a little bit earlier. But Primarina here is going to be one of those Pokemon that's gonna benefit quite a bit. And what you can see here with the average rating on the left side is the 2-shield scenario. We have a Charmer here. 2-shield scenario is the most important one for Charmers. You kind of just want to win those matchups. And as you can see here, you gain average rating of 42 with this one, gain 2 more victories by being Shadow, and just look at the right side and look how dominant matchups are. Like literally, it is insane on how dominant those matchups are now for Primarina, and it would be a great Pokemon for all 3 leagues, which is also kind of important for it. Overqwil. It's going to be a Pokemon that kind of stands for quite a lot of different ones. We have already similar Pokemon in terms of like Drapion and whatever, but like the entire Qwilfish family, in terms of Overqwil in both Qwilfish forms, would benefit definitely quite a bit from being a Shadow. As you see already with Drapion, same typing, same kind of moveset that you can have as well with it. But as you can see as well, this Pokemon has a lot of potential, especially with Poison Sting right now as well. Having Aqua Tail, having Shadow Ball's coverage move, but not only this, you actually have very interesting coverage moves that you don't have on Drapion. For example, you have Ice Beam, so if you're going to bait out some potential Pokemon that's going to be weak to Ice, you're going to be able to hit them for quite a lot of damage. Or you have also Sludge Bomb, I think you still have. I think there are even more Dark Pulse as a coverage move. There's quite a lot for this Pokemon that would be really cool when this one gonna be a Shadow. I don't think there is yet a Hisuian Shadow form. No, there's Sneasel. Hisuian Sneasel is already as a Shadow form, so it is possible. It is definitely possible. And Overqwil would be a very, very cool one to see. Next one is going to be a recent community day with a Leavanny. Leavanny is going to be one of the coolest ones as well. As you can see here, you're going to get an average increase here of 42 again. Is it 42? It is 32, never mind, I cannot do math. And you're gonna get 3 extra wins, which is kind of cool. For the top meta, it doesn't really change too much, to be fair, but what I kind of want to talk about with this Pokemon is the potential of farming non-Pokemon, having a ton of energy, and just punishing whatever wants to come in. You have good coverage with Double Stab, Leaf Blade, as well as Exeter, which maybe you saw my videos about Leavanny already. This Pokemon was already insane as a normal variant, non-Shadow variant. And this thing, I think, going to be even better in terms of doing this neutral damage. I think against Clefable, you have definitely a chance of winning this in the 2-shield scenario. I would be very confused if not. Against Gastrodon, you want to do so much damage with the Exeter. Like, there's so much potential against like the most Pokemon that you see here on the list as well. Diggersby, you have super effective Leaf Blade. Of course, you double weak to fire type, like fire type moves like the Fire Punch, which is the main issue why this Pokemon is here as a loss. But yeah, you have a lot of potential with Leavanny, and I think Shadow Leavanny has a lot going forward for it. Another grass type, another community day Pokemon is going to be Astonish the Decidueye there. Decidueye going to have access to Astonish, Spirit Shackle, and Frenzy Plant. Again, we kind of have the same kind of stuff. We want a fast move that does a ton of damage, and also kind of generates energy quite decently. We're going to have a very cheap charge move with Spirit Shackle, which is, I think, 40 energy and like 65 damage or something, with a 30% chance of debuffing, or 33% chance of debuffing the defense, which is really cool. And then you have Frenzy Plant, which is, of course, going to be that nuke move. But this Pokemon definitely going to benefit quite a bit here now, gaining 4 extra wins by just being Shadow, allowing you to hit Pokemon way harder, and even flipping matchups against something like a Toxapex, because you just have more pressure with the Ghost typing, which you didn't have before. And this is going to showcase again that this Pokemon has great potential for the future, and a lot of the starter Pokemon that are currently not available as a Shadow, and guaranteed gonna be a Shadow because every starter Pokemon was so far kind of a Shadow, like those going to be very, very good. And Generation 7 going to be amazing for those Shadow Pokemon. I want to see that Incineroar going to be very good as well in the future, because like it is the best Pokemon in VGC. But yeah, we have to see on how we can manipulate the moveset maybe a little bit to make this very, very good. But yeah, we have to see about this maybe in a different video. But as you can see here, Decidueye gonna benefit quite a bit from being Shadow. Lucario is going to be now on my list here as well. Having access to Force Palm, Thunder Punch, and Shadow Ball is kind of underwhelming. 444 average rating, goes all the way up to close to 500, gaining 7 extra wins just by being Shadow. And this is not all of it either, because you have also option to go for the Power Punch moveset, which is generally better when you're Shadow and when you have Force Pump as well. Like, this will be amazing, but not only this as well, it's also going to be amazing for if you want to do like grunts. Like, it's the best Pokemon for Team Rocket grunts already for sure, and as a Shadow it's just going to be a little bit better and a little bit easier to even get them down even faster. But like, this Pokemon is going to be such an interesting one as soon as it's going to get that Shadow treatment, because you have so much more potential. You have great coverage, you have even Blaze Kick on this Pokemon, you have Aura Sphere on this Pokemon. I think it has like a lot of potential for this thing, so stay tuned for this. I think it has even close combat. Very cool Pokemon when it's going to be Shadow. Golisopod is going to be the next one on the list. Again, you have a Pokemon with a great fast move that generates energy fast and does a lot of damage, plus a cheap charge move. When Exeter, you need only 5 Shadow Claws to get to 1 Exeter. That does a ton of damage as well, going to be Step, and some nice coverage as well with Liquidation. You get to those moves quite fast, as you're going to see here again. An average increase of quite a bit here to 493, going to be very, very good. I think plus 25 here, going to get 1 extra win. But not only this, again here for what I want to say about it is that this Pokemon, again, going to be a Pokemon that can farm down others way easier now, and also going to benefit quite a bit from having extra energy later on, because they have great double step coverage and extra liquidation. So I feel like as a closer, this Pokemon has even more potential than it shows here as stats, and so I think Golisopod going to be a very interesting one when this gonna be Shadow. And here we're going to have the final one, Salazzle. Again, one of the Egg Pokemon, but this thing would be very, very cool as a Shadow Pokemon, because look at the current average rating of 509. Being very, very strong with that already, this Pokemon just going to benefit even more. You don't have Bulk in the beginning already here, but you have an Incinerate user with Poison Fang, and this is just deadly as a Shadow Pokemon, gaining plus 3 extra wins, gaining win against even Dunsparce here, which is always super effective damage against you, which is madness, and just going to like literally go through opponents like it's nothing. Like, your fast move going to do so much damage that even the Clodsire matchup is going to be positive for you as well. And so I'm fairly certain Salazzle as a Shadow is going to be absolutely insane. But it's also going to be insane to get this Pokemon, because when it's going to be available as a Shadow eventually, you have to get the female variant. And that's going to be definitely quite an annoying task, because it's going to take a lot of time. But still, Salazzle going to be the final one here for this list. Hopefully this list helped you out in terms of seeing what might come in the future. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like. Let me know in the comment section, what kind of videos do you want to see? Is there anything in particular that you want me to make a video about? Then let me know down below, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.